This is the Vigilante video game review of Call of Duty World at War. Yeah, there it is. So, if you played any World War II shooters, you probably played this game. It's not necessarily that different from other Call of Duties set in World War II and just other World War II shooters. It's got all the standard characters. You got your Japanese, your Russians, your Americans, your Nazis. It's got it all. And it felt pretty familiar. I think it's getting a little bit back to the more old school Call of Duty, where the difficulty level is a little bit more set to kind of realistic, where bullets can hurt. It does have different difficulty levels: easy, normal, hard, and then veteran. And played it on normal, and normal seems pretty easy, really. You know, for me, it has that kind of difficulty level where it's not very realistic, and it depends on how you like to play your games. If you like to play your World War II shooters in a kind of a realistic mode, where bullets really hurt and you can get killed with one or two hits, one shot to the head, then you probably want to be on harder. Normal feels like, for kind of a veteran player, kind of unrealistic in that you can kind of pop out and throw a grenade, and you know there's a guy to your left and he's pegging you with a rifle, but you know, like, he's not going to kill you. He can only hit me 2 or 3 times. I'll still live. I'll get my grenade off and I'll get back to cover. And that's not really I don't think for this game in particular that doesn't feel right. I want to feel like, I'm keeping my head down, I'm crawling around, I'm really afraid of getting hit. And that seems to be the only thing that the difficulty level changes, is how much damage you can take. It's also much similar to the multiplayer difficulty level. In multiplayer, there's no difficulty levels, it's just multiplayer, and it's fairly realistic. It doesn't take, more than 2 or 3 rounds from a submachine gun to put you down. And 1 round from a rifle in the chest and you're dead. So I think if you want to kind of use it as practice, you probably also want to go with harder level difficulty. Played single player not all the way through. I played co-op all the way through first, and I was a little kind of shocked that my friends started playing single player, and then I started playing it, finding that it's almost like a completely different game. This game was not designed for co-op. Yeah, it works co-op, and they probably had it in the very beginning that you had to have a kind of co-op checkbox, but the way that it's presented is kind of unusual. I think not necessarily that unusual, but unusual for a co-op game in some ways. The reason is that you don't get any of the interstitial kind of story bits between missions that are very important to kind of understand who the characters are and kind of what's going on. Also, there are some single player only missions that you don't get in the co-op game at all, and those kind of make the story and the missions kind of incongruous. So that's something that I thought was kind of bad, compared to like Gears of War and Army of Two and games that are really kind of meant for co-op and have, they assume that you're playing co-op. Everything is there for those games. But in this game, it's a different experience. It's almost like you should play it probably single player and then play it co-op, and then you kind of know what's going on, and you're just replaying the game with a friend, replaying the levels with a buddy. Instead of what I did, which is played it co-op and then played it single player and kind of go like, oh gee, this is why I was doing this before. I didn't really understand, and oh, I didn't understand why I went from one mission to another so abruptly. It was because there was a whole mission in between that was missing, things like that. Played multiplayer, and that is multiplayer is what they call kind of their versus mode, team battles, capture the flag, PowerPoint, capturing, things like that. And I think that it's really done a good job. If you like multiplayer, like kind of a realistic type of gameplay where bullets do hurt, this is a pretty good game for you. The only thing I don't like is kind of the respawn rate. Respawning in multiplayer is generally instantaneous. You can watch the kill cam, which is a cool feature, I think, because it kind of prevents snipers from, dominating, because you kind of get an idea of where you were killed from and can go after them. But I think it's a situation where you can respawn instantly. You die, you hit a button, you're back in. You die, you hit a button, you're back in. Now, obviously, you're not right there in the battle. Sometimes you are, actually. Sometimes the spawning locations seem a little odd. But I kind of don't like that. I like it where there's a delay. So death kind of feels like, ow, that hurt, you. And also when you kill someone, you feel like, okay, I put that guy down. He's going to be out of the battle for at least, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, some period of time. But you can hit the button, pop back in. And I've heard comments like, what the hell, I just killed that guy and he killed me. Or I killed that guy 3 times now in, 10 seconds, that kind of thing. And I think it loses something. There's different modes you can play on Multiplayer, unfortunately, you have to kind of play on kind of like lesser modes, like a boot camp and kind of deathmatch and free for all levels before you can open up the more, I think, more fun scenarios where you're more capturing the flag, and capturing points and stuff like that. But even then, they still usually allow you to respawn pretty quickly. And there's a whole bunch of modes that I haven't got up to the levels yet. 40 plus levels or whatever. To be able to get into maybe some more hardcore modes where there's very limited respawning or other types of scenarios. So that's the only thing I wish there was like a timer, basically a respawn timer. But other than that, it's pretty good multiplayer. Technically, I've seen almost no bugs or problems. It handles lag. It handles like the one slow guy very well. You don't see him teleporting around the map or doing anything weird. It's a very solid game, well done. If you like World War II shooters, and I think you know who you are out there, then you'll probably like this game. If you're kind of sick of it, you might find it sick. In single player and co-op in the campaign missions, there are some interesting kind of new elements to the Japanese warfare, spider holes and camo and bonsai charges and bayonets and stuff like that. They're kind of cool, a little bit new stuff, something to keep you interested. But again, not a revolutionary kind of experience. Like, oh my God, I've never experienced anything like this before. I played it. I enjoyed it. If you're inclined to play this kind of game, definitely pick it up. It's well worth it. That's it for me, Vigilante Center. Vigilante.